Hey, it's Anthony Meisner with Land Title. This is your Denver Metro update for the month of February. And this one is interesting because our inventory situation is definitely hitting its low for the year here in February. We just haven't had as many people come to market as we've had go under contract, but this is a good sign that there's a lot of buyer confidence out in the marketplace right now. Pendings went up again another 16% from January to February, which is a good sign in the market. And year over year, we're only down 8.5%, which from a 3% interest rate to a 7-ish% interest rate, this is a really fascinating one to see because it just goes to show how much pent-up buyer demand has been out there. And people are just re-entering the marketplace because it's a new year and because it's time to keep going, right? And honestly, it's not a bad time to buy a home. It's just a very difficult time to buy a home. So let's look at it from an inventory standpoint. Inventory is in a very unique position because it's the highest it's been in 2 years for this time of year, right? We definitely want to compare with seasonality kind of tied in here, which is why we look at it this way. And, month over month, it dropped by 20%. Usually it doesn't drop that much into February, but we definitely are seeing only 3,600 homes on the market. We would need to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 to be in a balanced market. So we're still in a huge inventory shortage. But county by county is really, really different, right? Look at Broomfield County, for example. Only 72 homes on the market. It's 150% above this time last year. But then you have places like Elbert County, 98 homes on the market. It's only 75% increase from this time last year. So not all markets are created equal, and not everything is working in the same way. So let's take a look at month supply of inventory because I think this gives us a better picture, right? This time last year, we had 0.3 months of inventory, basically 1 week of inventory in the market. So if nothing else came to market, everything would be sold in a week. That's what that means. This year, we have 0.92 months of inventory, which in all reality is a strong, strong seller's market, right? We have less than a month of inventory at all price ranges combined. I mean, this is just kind of crazy, right? So nobody would have expected our inventory situation to be this low right now, but we just don't have enough homes and we've been underbuilt for so long in this marketplace. So it's definitely something to pass along. If you have buyers, they're probably going to be out there. It's going to be slightly competitive, but not like it was last year. Look at this. For good example, days in MLS are at 46 days right now, right? This is definitely the highest point for the year. You're going to see that tend to trend down from here through about May or June. And I would expect us to get somewhere in that 20 to 30 range, right? Because we're not going to see this extreme shortage like we saw in 21 or 22. Now, if we see something like 2020, I think that would be best case scenario, maybe even a plateau if interest rates really trend down, but we don't really know what that's going to look like, right? So at this point, we know we're going to have a strong spring market. That's about all we can tell. Everybody seems to be headed that direction. Now, if you look at it from a price point standpoint, this is the one I really think that you should use with your clients because it's much easier to understand maybe as a whole what's happening when you're saying, great, well, let's look from 5 to 599. What's happening in that price range? Well, there's 419 homes on the market. It looks like 4 to 499, 347 sold. So a few less sold than what were put on the market last month, but it's really tight and that's very competitive. Now, if you come over to this one with month supply of inventory and days on market, you can see just exactly what's going on. There's only 2 weeks of inventory in that part of the market. It's all turning over in about 51 days on average, active to under contract. And that is going to trend down quickly because if we don't have any inventory, things are going to start selling faster. So expect those days on market to trend down really fast and this market to pick up speed. Now, if we don't have any inventory under about 400,000 like we show right now, that market is going to be bidding wars, right? Because that's what we experienced in the past. History tends to repeat itself. But in all reality, we just don't have a lot of inventory in those price ranges to sell. So that's a tough one. But if you can get up into that 400, 500, $600,000 price range, at least there's enough inventory to where you can go shop for some homes. Now, let's take a look at it from a sold analysis. So really what happens in this market is we've had less buyers, we've had a contractionary market. Year over year, we're only down 15%, which is a really good sign because, we were down somewhere in the neighborhoods of 30% in the October, November, December timeframe. So we're picking up steam fast. There's a lot of buyer demand out there in the marketplace. Now, if we look at it by average sales price, right, this is going to show you some historic trends. I think this is a really good one to show people when they're like, well, maybe the market's going to collapse like 2008, right? The reality is it's just not going to happen because we're not in the same kind of climate, right? This isn't a real estate caused recession. This is a we printed too much money in the middle of COVID and the economy shifted and things are changing, right? So we're in a very different environment than we were in the last recession. And that being said, average home sale prices have pretty well stabilized over the course of, this year now. So here we are, where you can see year over year, we're down 1.89%. But I think a lot of that too is our composition of sales have changed quite a bit, because if you could afford, let's just call it 3,000 a month, that does not buy the same home it bought this time last year at 3,000 a month. So that's when you had those big bidding wars. That's when you had people fighting over hot, really big houses, or homes that were more expensive. And now we're kind of reeling in and changing those expectations back to maybe more of what they should be. So when you're looking at $720,000 average sales price, that buys a very different home now than it did before because of the cost of money. Now let's go to the last slide. This is the one I think is the most important. This is our percentage listed sale price. This is our attached market, but attached and detached are all pretty similar. There's a lot more pressure in attached right now, and that's largely due to, as prices, or as money gets more expensive, people tend to move more towards, cheaper homes, which in turn means more attached product and more demand for that attached product. But right now we're at 99% listed sale price on average for the attached product. I expect that to rise all the way through May, like our normal seasonality, and then trend back down. But what we're not going to see is those huge mountains like we saw in 21 or 22. So really use this data to help people understand we're getting back to more normalized market. It's going to feel like the beginning of 2020 or back in 2019, where 98% to 100%, maybe 101% at the peak of the market. So I think that's all good news. I just think we're kind of getting back to that normal, more pre-pandemic seasonality we're going to see. If you have any other questions, I'm Anthony with Land Title. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the videos. I'll catch you next time.